So I have the best news. Aspire with me, Emma Grede, has been nominated for a Best New Podcast at the 2025 Signal Awards. I honestly couldn't be more excited. We only just started this show in May, and already to be here as a finalist, it is such a huge honor. And really, it's because of all of you guys showing up every week, listening and watching and supporting. And I appreciate it more than you will ever know. Now, this award is in your hands. Voting is open until October the 9th. And I promise you, it only takes 1 little minute. Just head to vote.signalawards.com. And the link is also right below in the episode description to cast your vote for Aspire with Emma Grede. Thank you so much. It truly means the world to me.
I'm extremely nervous. I think I'm the most nervous since our wedding day.
Today is a crazy one. I'm interviewing my husband, who I've also worked with for over 18 years, Jens Grede. Was it love at first sight?
It wasn't love at first sight. People ask me all the time, how is it to work with your wife?
Jens is a serial entrepreneur, father of our 4 kids and CEO of Skims. Today, we unpack how we've been able to build together in life and business. So if we have conflict at home, how do we make sure that it doesn't seep into business?
Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it.
You have been pretty open about that you suffer from anxiety.
You're not just successful despite your anxiety, you're successful because of them.
Jens reveals why he's never denied gut instinct and how success is about opportunity, patience, and resilience.
It's gonna be okay, but if it's not okay, that's okay too.
And the moment that changed everything for us.
When I knew, I fucking knew. I just never had less doubt about anything.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
This is weird.
Oh yeah, very weird.
How are you feeling?
I'm extremely nervous. I think I'm the most nervous I've been for since our wedding day.
Oh, shut up. There's no way. Are you really?
No, of course, because I want to do a good job for you. This isn't what I do, so I'm doing it for you.
You're so good. I literally heard arse from outside. Well, you're very lovely, and I'm happy you're here because actually, of all the people I've asked to do the podcast, you gave me the most direct answer, which was just a flat no, maybe season 2.
Yeah.
And here you are.
I was hoping when season 2 would roll around, I could say season 3 and so forth. It was
just keep kicking the can.
It was a deferment.
Well, the people have spoken, Jens. They want to hear from you. It is a fact of social media questioning. So here you are. Obviously, I know you as my beloved husband, the father of our 4 children, and an amazing investor, founder, CEO, all-round entrepreneur. But for my audience that don't know you, can you just take me back to the beginning a little bit and talk to the audience about where you come from and what your upbringing was like?
I grew up in a small working class community an hour south of Stockholm, son of a Swedish filmmaker who made very difficult movies about difficult subjects. And,
you can say that again.
Yeah. And a mother who was a tapestry artist. So we were the odd family, I wouldn't say we were the Addams family, but we were the odd family in where I was raised.
And talk a little bit about, because you left home at a very young age and kind of set out on your own away from your parents, like 16 years old?
Yeah, I moved away when I was 16. I grew up in the countryside, but I never really had a strong connection to the countryside. I was a kid that was very bored growing up and dreaming of, the big city. And I was obsessed with skateboarding, and I spent my whole childhood skateboarding and snowboarding. And it's not that easy to skateboard on a farm. It was like a challenging choice. So I moved to Stockholm when I was 16, so I could really skate all year round indoors, and lived on my own ever since.
Tell me about coming to London. I know you turned up to London when you were 19, but give me that bridge of how did you get into fashion? Because I feel like for certain careers, music, fashion, entertainment, it's very, very different now to what it was back then. but you were still a kid with no contacts, no money, you weren't in the mix because that's not where you came from. So how did you break into fashion? Like, what's your first job?
Well, that was before I came to London. I think I was like 20, about to become 21. I had somehow wrangled my way into a magazine in Stockholm that was a very well-respected fashion magazine. I wrangled my way in by, I approached them in a nightclub. I saw the editor and I said, I'll work for free. And who doesn't want someone working for free?
I mean, that's what we could do back in the day. No,
yeah,
those days are gone, but we all worked for free.
I worked for free until he grew a conscience and started paying me.
You didn't tell him he had to pay you?
No.
No. We all just worked for free. It was the norm, especially in fashion.
Well, I wanted the job and I was okay to go hungry for a little bit.
And go hungry you did. All right, so you turn up to London, you've got 300 quid in your pocket, and 300 quid is, not a lot of dollars, basically. And what do you do?
Well, I know this is shocking to hear, but I had a girlfriend before you. I know, it's shocking. And surprising.
Do you mean that you moved to London for a girl?
I think there was a girl involved, yes, in that move. I wanted to move to New York.
Long may she be gone.
Well, God works in mysterious ways.
Because I was in London, just waiting for you.
Because you were in London. Because I did not like London. No, I didn't like it one bit. And I wanted to move to New York. And I showed up in London. We shared a small apartment above a bookbinder's on Holloway Road, which is not the greatest area then. I don't think it's the greatest area today. And I slept on her and I lived on a blow-up mattress, together with her flatmate. And, that was that.
They were the good old days.
They were the good old days, yeah.
Did you envisage yourself to be where you are now?
The short answer is yes. I mean, I never envisaged my career. I never had a plan for my career. I didn't know what form it would take or what good I could do. But I was a daydreamer.
Yeah.
I was a big daydreamer. And I think I spent most of my school years daydreaming. I certainly didn't spend my school days studying. I never went to college.
No, you left when you were, what, 15, 16?
No. I left after high school.
Yeah.
After high school. It's a little different in the UK to the US and Sweden, but I left after high school and, I had terrible grades. I couldn't get into university. I wanted to get into university because I wanted to be able to live. And if I would get into university, I would get, student loans and I could live on the student loans. But my grades didn't really get me there.
So from the terrible grades, tell me how you first got started in business. What was the first thing?
So the way I think about business, there's something I do to do something I want to do. It's business itself it's a means to an end. It's the necessary things we do to be able to practice something we love or we want to express. You don't become an artist to be in the music business. You become an artist to become an artist. The music business follows being an artist. Mm-hmm. If you are a writer, and I was a writer, or at least identified as a writer. Maybe I didn't write very much, but I identified as a writer. You have to work at a magazine. But really, I didn't have any thought of being in business or running a business or starting a business until I had to start a business to do what I wanted to do.
Why did you need to start a business? Like, where were you at? Where were you working?
I was 24 and I wanted to...
Because that's really young to start a business.
Yeah, but I couldn't get the job I wanted. So I had to create the job I wanted. I wanted to work with my best friend. And no one would hire two people at the same time. I can't believe we thought that we were naive enough to think that you can get hired as two people. I mean, how many people have come into your office saying, here's the two of us.
And here's my best friend. No.
Here's my best friend.
No.
Hire us both. That's not how it goes. However, we were naive enough to think that that's how it goes. And when not only that, we only really wanted to work for one or two people. And when they didn't give us a job, we had no choice but to start our own business.
I've heard you talk about, or I heard you say that dysfunction is an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder about somebody listening to this, how, a toxic job, a bad boss, or being in a kind of not so great work environment can actually be a growth experience.
Well, just imagine, right? If everybody around you is really great, do you know how hard it is to stand out? But if you're working in an environment with some dysfunction and you're in a job and you don't think your boss is that good or your coworker is that good, you be great. Mm-hmm. You be great. You will stand out and you'll get opportunities because you will be there and you'll do a better job. So yeah, instead of, and I've said this to many friends, don't complain about your environment. See your environment as an opportunity to put yourself forward and do a great job. Don't worry so much about if the people you work with is not up to what you perceive, rightly or wrongly, to be your level. Well, then you be the level.
Yeah. No, I think that shuts down quite a lot of complaining. I love what you said about the way of framing your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s, because I think that common wisdom, or so many of us think that everything should be figured out. Like you've spent maybe time in education, you come out of college in your 20s and you should like walk into this dream situation. But the reality is, and I think I've learned this as I got older, that it doesn't work like that at all. And I wonder if you have hundreds and hundreds of employees, you've had multiple companies and successes. Can you talk a little bit about the timing of everything and how we should think about some of those frameworks?
Well, unlike you, I don't have a plan.
We're going to talk a lot about how different we are.
I don't have a plan. I don't have a linear career path. Mm-hmm. I don't call myself an entrepreneur. I don't call myself a CEO. I normally say, who the hell wants to be a CEO? CEOs gets fired. I don't want to be a CEO. I want to call the shots. I want to own it. But let someone else be in the firing line.
But the distinction is important because I think for a long time, all I wanted in my life was to be the CEO, the entrepreneur, and you have always fought against those things. You're like, no, you don't, Emma. You just want to be the person calling the shots.
Yeah, what does it matter?
I think people care about labels. You're just very, you can give a shit about those things.
I couldn't care two shits about those things. I think one should be careful about being too excited about calling yourself a CEO or founder. I mean, I prefer founder. I think founder is fair. You have an idea, you're bringing that to life. I think it's the best way to describe it. But to me, when I think about a CEO, I think about someone who is, commanding a large corporation, not someone who's trying to make a dream become a reality.
But you are a CEO. You're the CEO of Skims.
For my sins, yeah.
You've been the CEO of multiple companies.
I have.
And yet that's just not something that you identify with.
No. I identify with the role as a coach.
Yeah.
I think as you know, which is ironic, but I really think about a lot of things in business as a sports analogy. Mm-hmm. And I'm a basketball coach. I want to win the title. I put my guys on the floor. And, but if you're losing in the fourth quarter, I'm not going to run out and sink a three-pointer for you, but I'm going to deal with you in the off-season. So for me, I see my job as trying to bring a vision into reality. And that vision will shift as business gets bigger. The dream of what Skims can become is bigger today than when we started the company. But I see my role with Kim. Kim had a vision of what she wanted to create, and I see my role as making that a reality for her and for myself and for you and for our team.
I want to know, because I feel like you have a good point of view on this. For someone who's starting out with super limited resources, what do you think the smartest way is to build and to create momentum for yourself? If somebody else like has the £300 in their pocket, what do you think you would advise?
Well, if you got $300 or $400 in your pocket, you can't really do shit. That's that's the truth. You have to be good at something. You know, if you don't have the money, you have to have the human capital, your skill set, your drive, your talent. That is hopefully more valuable than $400. So you have to double down on being good at something.
Mm-hmm.
People try to skip that over, you know, and we see these success stories all the time about, you know, someone who stumbles over something and, oh my God, now it's unbelievable and it's $1 billion business. And I can tell you, I have been, as you know, an avid investor in the consumer space and in technology and media for 20 years. I'm on the inside of many of those stories. It's not my name because it's not mine, but I'm on the inside because I'm an investor. It never is what people think it is. It's never as great as it might look. So it's far better to focus on being excellent. And I have in my whole life never seen excellent people fail.
That's a delicious bit of advice right there.
Just try to be great.
Just try to be great. Just
Be
try
great.
to take whatever it is that you've got and be great. I want to talk to you about like the big pivotal moments. And I think that one element or something that I see in you that I've really had to try to learn is this element of risk taking. And so I feel like you have reinvented yourself in your career multiple times. And I wonder, like, what's given you the courage to start over and start over and start over again?
The biggest risk you can take in life is not taking any risks in life.
You have told me this many times.
That's a fact. Whatever good moment you have, it's going to pass. For everybody.
You are a bundle of joy, my darling.
It is just what it is.
This is the stoic, Swedish joyfulness that I wake up with every morning. Feeling good, it's going to pass. I'm like, oh, great. Fucking great.
Well, it's going to pass if you don't reinvent yourself.
Well, because you believe very much like not getting high on your own supply, right? Like you'll be in a moment and you know it's just a fleeting moment.
I think getting high on your own supply or getting high on your own success, I would say that drug has taken down more of my friends than any of the others.
Yeah, fair. Facts.
You have to reinvent yourself every 5 to 7 years or so.
And give me like for people listening, exactly what do you mean by that? What do you mean by reinvent yourself?
I'm sitting on your podcast, aren't I?
Fair.
When I was a teenager, I worked a paper round in East London to make money. I also worked in a deli and I made sure that I made the best sandwiches so that you were sure to come back. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave me a sense of ownership and pride that I will never forget. When I think back to that time, what stands out isn't just the money, it was the freedom. Having something that was mine on my own terms gave me confidence, and it showed me that I could create opportunities without ever waiting for permission. In college, I was always looking for ways to earn on the side. At one point, I was selling T-shirts to friends for Saturday night outings. Another one of my first side hustles was working in local shops. And while they weren't big businesses, it actually taught me how small efforts can really add up. I met so many people through that, and it gave me this network I never expected. Sometimes the people you meet through your hustle are just as valuable as the money. And that valuable lesson is actually something I've heard echoed from the people using Airbnb to host their home when they're away as a side hustle of their own. What I hear from hosts all the time is that it's not just about the extra income. Yes, it can help with bills, savings, investing in your next big idea, but it's also about those connections, meeting people from all over the world, opening your door, and sometimes gaining new friends in the process. And here's the thing, you don't need to build an entire business plan or quit your job. You might already have the start of it, a spare bedroom, a guest house, or even your own home while you're away. Instead of it sitting empty, it could be earning for you. So here's my challenge. Take a look at what you've got. Maybe it's that spare room you walk past every day. Maybe it's your apartment while you're traveling. Don't overlook the opportunities right in front of you. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. Have you ever noticed how insane claims are in the skincare world? Look 10 years younger overnight or erase wrinkles instantly, and then you check the fine print and no science anywhere. That's why I've been loving Hyacera from Ritual. It's not about hype, it's about proof. Hyacera is a once daily skincare supplement that's clinically proven to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. I added it to my routine because I already trust Ritual. I take their daily protein after my workouts and their stress relief capsules when life gets a little too hectic. Hyacera just fit right in. And since starting, my skin feels smoother, more hydrated, and honestly, just has a nice glow. The science, though, is what really sold me. In a clinical study, Hyacera led to a 2.9x increase in skin smoothness and a 3.6x reduction in crow's feet wrinkles in just 90 days compared to placebo. That's not marketing fluff, that's data. Start Hyacera to support your glow without compromising on clean science. Get 25% off your first month for a limited time at ritual.com/Emma. Start Ritual or add Hyacera to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/Emma for a 25% off your first month.
All right, let's talk about me and you, dear.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we got to the kind of early 30s, which is basically when I met you. I met you when you were 30?
30.
Because I remember your 30th, 29, because I remember your 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't invited.
No.
You had another girlfriend then too, but
it wasn't much of a party.
No, you were miserable before me. But let's just talk about. Well, actually, why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about how we first met? Because you know how couples have these different ideas of that. Let's talk about us together. How we met. Go on, in your words.
Well, we met through an agency that was under the Saturday Group umbrella. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to branch out into sponsorship and events. I didn't really care. But the people running it said...
That's exactly why I came over. Because you didn't care.
I was like, all right,
whatever.
We'll try it.
Yeah.
And they said this...
But you were in my interview. You were my final interview. Basically.
Yes. And I remember that interview.
You do remember it?
Oh, very well.
Where were we?
But I was going to say something nice.
Okay, go on.
I was going to say something really nice. They were saying at the time, I was like, why would we do that? And they were like, this girl, everybody loves her. She's super well respected. She's really young. But I think it'd be a really good look for us if she worked here because everybody else would want her to work for them. And I said, good enough for me, but let me meet this person.
Yeah. And so I met you.
So you met.
And how did you feel about me straight away? Was it love at first sight?
It wasn't love at first sight.
For you.
But it wasn't.
I loved you straight away.
But it wasn't love at first sight.
You can't say it's not love. You really, the way I remember it is you literally didn't know that I existed for 9 months.
Huh. I think that's a slight exaggeration. I do remember our entire first meeting in detail.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. You remember details.
And so I wouldn't have remembered that in detail if you hadn't made a very strong impression. I remember telling someone I thought you were very cute. Oh. So I give you that. But I was also aware that that's not something I should think.
I remember being so in love with you the moment I met you that when you wrote my offer down, because I was essentially at that point, it was like I was going to start a division of an agency you already had. Right. And I would have a stake in that. You know, it wasn't really even a company. It was just a division. But I would basically get to, make a decent amount of money. And you wrote my offer down on a piece of paper. And I loved you so much at that point that I still have.
You still have it?
That notebook. It's upstairs still in my GA office. It's upstairs in the office. Yes.
That's extremely cute.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that's very cute.
Yeah, I'm so glad you thought that was cute.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. I was completely smitten, but, you know, we were not in situations, either of us, to start dating one another because we both had other partners at the time.
I don't think that meet cute is as interesting perhaps as how I fell in love with you, which I find was one of the most, I'm going to sound like the way I don't want to come across, almost spiritual.
Aww.
In the way that happened. It was sounds like I have dream catchers and birthstones.
It really does.
Which is like the opposite. But I just knew. When I knew, I knew. When I knew, I had no doubt. It was like a cosmic experience. And I knew you felt the same way, even though we had never talked about it.
No, we never had a discussion because we were professional.
Well, when we kind of proclaimed our love for one another and started dating, we just came out with it.
Yeah.
I remember I was with you and we
hadn't kissed and we hadn't done
nothing.
No.
But I was willing to leave everything and anything for you.
Yeah, same. And you did.
Which, sometimes the greatest risk is not taking it. But it didn't feel like a risk at all. It felt like this is what I had to do. But I was never uncertain. And I was never uncertain about how you felt either.
No, I think that we've been very clear together. I mean, I do think, and I say this all the time, it has been a gift and a blessing that we had a working relationship together for just under a year before we actually started dating, before I put my, falling in love on day one to the side and decided to do some good work.
Well, that's helpful because when you have a working rapport, it's much easier to have a personal rapport.
Yeah,
if you have
a
personal rapport and you try to turn that into working rapport, that can be a little bit challenging because you just have different patterns.
Yeah, the way around it really worked. And I think that what's been interesting is how we've managed to stay happily married together now with 4 kids later and yet still work together. So what do you think it is that makes us able to work together?
I will broaden that a little bit because I have only really worked with friends. I consider everybody I work with a friend. I didn't, in almost every case, there's been that duality.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're my family, but, as we grow up in our 20s and 30s, our friends are also our family.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've always ever worked with family, but also I grew up in a home where my dad was making movies and my mom was making art, and they had a dialogue around each other's work all the time. So I think I grew up in a home where work and life was always intertwined, and it wasn't something that my parents were trying to separate. They got a tremendous amount of joy and value out of it, just like I believe I'm getting a tremendous amount of joy and value out of working with you. All relationships, not just in love, but all relationships have to create something together. And we can create a home, we can create a family, people can create memories, you can have projects, you can start companies. People ask me all the time. My friends ask me, you're working with your wife. How is it to work with your wife? How can you work with your wife? That would drive me nuts. How do you do it? And I say, you all work with your wife. You all work with your partners. We're lucky now that we don't have to argue so much about who's taking out the trash. But for most people, the division of roles and responsibilities in a home, in any relationship, it sure looks like work to me. So I don't make that much distinction.
You really don't?
No.
I always think that it's somewhere in the fact that you and I are, and we talk about this a lot, like we are so different. The way we approach business, the way we are with the people that we work with, you and I have entirely opposite styles. But in our home lives and what we care about and who we are, we're incredibly similar.
I think we're very similar about our taste.
Yeah.
Taste meaning how we want to live, how we want to eat, what we get excited about. We have very similar values.
Yeah.
You know, of the whole spectrum of values. I think we have a similar moral code.
That for sure.
I think we look at the world in a very similar way. So I feel that I'm incredibly aligned with you as a human being. Yeah, our styles of work are entirely different. Like, not like Mars and Venus. Like,
no, like
galaxies apart.
Galaxies apart.
Galaxies apart.
Galaxies apart.
You are charming and friendly and personable and emotional. And, you know.
And you, my darling.
I've been accused of being a little bit stoic, a little impersonal, perhaps, sometimes. A little cold. I wouldn't use that word, but I would just say, you know, a little bit more objective. So yeah, no, we're super different in how we approach our work. But that's small stuff. That's just how you approach your work is how you get shit done.
Yeah.
That's what that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've said this to you many times when we've had disagreements, which is it's all going to lead to the same result.
Yeah.
This is how you go about it to get to your end result. I have to go about it the way I go about it. And when you say, how can you do this? Or, you know, I don't agree with that. You know, I'll sometimes have to remind you that I've done just fine in life doing it my way. And we're going to get to the same place. We're just going to get there different ways.
But we do have some rules. Like, I feel like one of the things that between you and I, we always say, like, whichever of us cares the most gets to decide.
Yeah, I would say this is a pillar of my kind of philosophy of working with people that I love. And it goes for you. It goes for all my partners. I think it goes for my working relationship with Kim.
Yeah.
Which is, I know what Kim, I know what my other partners deeply care about. And if you care that much about it, I'm going to let you have it. And I'm lucky enough to work with people that give me the grace that when I care a lot, you let me have it. Because in the end of the day, we all make good decisions. We make more bad decisions.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay, you like blue, I like red. Who's to say what's the best? Okay, if you really want blue, let's do blue. If it doesn't work out, we'll do it differently. What's the big deal?
How does your dad say it? Some things work out. What is the saying that he has?
Well, the saying my dad has, which applies to a lot of things in life, is it's going to be okay. But if it's not okay, that's okay too. But as it pertains to like how you divide responsibilities between a friend and a business partner, it's really important to follow the rule of who cares.
Yeah.
Who cares more? Because if you're passionate about it, it's important for you to see that through. You have that in your heart. You want to see this idea through. Who am I to stop you from seeing that through? That creates friction and tension. And if it doesn't work out, or you don't get your way and I get my way instead, and that doesn't work out, you're going to be resentful thinking, if you've only done it my way, isn't it much easier to go, if this is really important to you, we're going to do it the way you want to do it. And we're going to get behind the way you want to do it 110%. If it doesn't work out, well, you know what? We'll make a different decision next time.
Yeah.
It's okay. Honestly, people overthink the small decisions and they forget about the bigger picture. Because you chose that color, because you opened that store, because you choose that packaging, because you spent that on a billboard. You think that's really ultimately going to determine the success of what you're doing? It's not. You're going to make some bad decisions. You're probably going to make some horrible decisions. The secret to success as a founder is to realize that you only have to make a couple of really good decisions, and you can make a ton of bad ones. Just make a couple really good ones. And the only way you make some good decisions is to make a decision and move on. Companies and ideas fail, not because of good and bad ideas, but because people cannot make decisions. They spend too much time with too few decisions. Make more decisions, don't sweat it, learn from it, move on.
What is your advice? Because I think it's my number one, and I've said this so many times, my number one piece of advice from you is always that, make a decision and move on. But what do you think your advice is for people that hesitate too long, who make decisions out of fear and get it wrong? What do you say to people?
Well, we're all wired differently. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for me to say to somebody who has a tendency to procrastinate to make a decision and move on. But with so many things that we say, this is who I am, this is the way I am, I do it this way, I overthink, I procrastinate, and you use that as an excuse for not getting shit done, it's actually a muscle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a fast runner. You've seen me run. I run slow.
It's not your thing.
No, it's not my thing. But if I committed myself to it, maybe I could run a little bit faster, right? So things that we know about ourselves, which we wish we could change, it doesn't make you, oh my God, I'm going to be the fastest, most aggressive risk taker that ever graced God's earth. That's probably not going to happen. But you can develop that muscle and you can become a faster decision maker. You can become a bigger risk taker. You can be more in tune with what your gut is telling you. You can develop a gut feel.
You always refer to gut instinct and gut feel. Can you just talk about what that means to you specifically?
So when we think about gut feel, we think of that feeling we have inside of us when we're confronted with a decision, or how we feel about someone when we meet them, or a situation.
Yeah, typically.
Right? That's how we refer to it. So we tend to, when we speak about it, we tend to also speak and think about it as something that's kind of given to us by God, that it just instinctively happens. I can't explain it. It's in my spirit.
Yeah.
There might be some truth to it, but your gut is really your collective memory, your collective experience and learnings, all inside of you, that is forming that feeling. It's everything you read, every book, every article, every conversation you had, every wrong and right decision you made. That becomes your gut. And it's okay not to be able to explain why you feel it, but you can feed it. And you can feed it by being a curious person. I spend every morning reading news for an hour. I read five newspapers. I read things I disagree with. I read things I agree with. I listen to podcasts of people that I strongly disagree with and people I strongly agree with. I take in the full spectrum. I meet people. Whenever we meet someone together, you go, oh, here comes Jens' 21 questions.
Yeah.
I'm always asking people questions. I always want to
so interested.
Yeah, I just don't want to know like the surface stuff.
Yeah.
So all of that, in my life, that's built up. That's my gut feel. All of it feeds my gut feel. And I have learned to feed it, and I have learned to trust it. I don't need to explain it. I just have now, I think, my instincts have got better as I got older. And the only way to explain that is to say, my gut is a muscle that, my gut instinct is a muscle that I have trained and I have developed.
Can you think about a time when your gut instinct has led you down like the right path? Like when you specifically used your gut and it's turned out to be right?
When I met Kim and she showed me what her early ideas around Skims was, and she had an idea about a world that she wanted to build. I wasn't looking for a project. I was very happy. I had no interest in starting another business. I was kind of searching for a quite different chapter, I think, in life. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah, you could not do it.
I couldn't not do it. And it's not like I want to do something. And I never think that I've approached opportunities and investments and like, oh, I really want to do it. It's more like I wake up the next day and I think I have to do it. I cannot not do it. So I just had a gut feeling that what she was showing me was something that I had to help bring to reality. So it certainly led me right, but I would say more often I remember the times where I don't listen to my gut, where I let myself be convinced that I'm wrong, where I'm giving too much, let's say, grace, partly because sometimes I can't articulate why I don't like something. It's not always easy in a nice way to say why I don't like something. Sometimes you see something, I just don't really like it. I don't really like it. So you can be convinced because, okay, I don't really like it. But if you really like it, then you go against that gut feel, it always turns out.
It always turns out terribly.
Yeah. It always
Do you
goes
think
south.
that you knew when you and I got together, did you think that you knew that we would like stay in business together? Did you ever have a feeling about how our life would turn out together?
Well, the most important thing has to be the most important thing. And if you're in love, being in love is the most important thing. So
That's
I didn't.
Such a you answer.
I didn't think about business or what's going to happen next week.
No.
I was in love with you. So that was the most important thing. And that's that.
Do you feel like there's stuff that I do now that drives you crazy as a business partner?
Well, you drive me crazy as a business partner, as my best friend and my wife.
How so?
But I've learned as I get older, I have learned that we all have different processes. It's not for me to change you. That's not my job. And I'm pretty sure I do a lot of things that drives you up the wall. And I think the most important thing for any relationship, again, in love, in business, is really to, and I keep using this word today, I don't know why, you got to give each other grace. You got to give each other grace and allow one another to be who you are. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm always looking for ways to support my energy, my skin, and just my overall wellness without overcomplicating my routine. That's why I'm loving Peak. I use this brand every single day. They're a luxury wellness brand that blends rare, precious plants with science-backed ingredients to support sustained energy, metabolism, immune health, and radiant skin. So who doesn't need all of that? I've been starting my day with Peak's Radiant Skin Duo, and I can already feel the difference. The Sun Goddess Matcha is my favorite. It's calming, packed with antioxidants, and it really helps with my skin glow while flushing out toxins. And the BT Fountain Beauty Electrolyte, that's a total game changer. It hydrates deeply and strengthens my skin from the inside out. And honestly, my complexion has never looked better. It's not just effective, it's delicious. I love sipping the yuzu and sweet raspberry blend throughout the day. I feel energized, hydrated, and my skin has a natural, healthy glow that all my friends keep asking about. So if you're ready for your healthiest glow, you can get 20% off for life, a complimentary gift, and explore the clean, plant-powered essentials behind your favorite new routine at peaklife.com/aspire. That's PIQUE life.com/aspire. That's hydration refined. Try it and glow from the inside out. As someone who's really inspired by entrepreneurs, especially women building brands that change industries, I love supporting companies like Stay. I learned about Stay from my makeup artist, Christy, who's been using it on me for forever. It's a clean, high-performance makeup brand that's not only women-owned, but it's setting a new standard in beauty. Their products don't just look amazing on, they're actually good for your skin, and they work to improve it over time. My personal favorite is the Glowy Super Gel. It's their #1 bestseller and an Allure Award winner, and I totally get why. I use it as my first step, and it instantly gives me that fresh, lit from within glow without ever feeling heavy. And when I want a bit more coverage, I go for the Slip Tint Tinted Moisturizer with SPF 35. It's sheer and dewy, and I love that it's protecting and hydrating my skin at the same time. And the Dew Blush, that blends seamlessly for a wash of color that never looks streaky. What I love about Stay is that it's effortless, chic, and mission-driven beauty that feels good and does good. Find Stay at Sephora.com and every Sephora store across the United States and Canada, and at sayhello.com.
I want to talk about disagreements because obviously all partnerships, relationships, everyone has disagreements. And how do you think that, especially in a relationship like ours, how do you stop, or how do we stop disagreements from becoming like destructive at work or at home?
Well, it goes back to a little bit about who cares most. My ambition is actually not to have disagreements. Once you have a disagreement, it's gotten pretty far. Mm-hmm. So I don't like to get to that. I mean, you can have bickering, right?
But I love
a disagreement, it's got to go pretty far to have a disagreement. That means that you have a point of view, I have a different point of view. No one's willing to give up their point of view, that it feels so strongly that we'd rather disagree than move forward. Mm-hmm. So I think disagreements should be avoided generally avoided. But if you find yourself in the unfortunate situation that you have a true disagreement, you've got to take down the temperature, de-escalate. And again, what's the most important thing? Are we going to lose our business, lose our love, lose our friendship over this? Is this the most consequential thing? Is everything really at stake here? Mm-hmm. And
usually not.
Almost never, right?
Yeah, usually not.
Almost never.
So what do you think if there's people listening right now and they are thinking about working with a partner or working with a really close friend? What's the first conversation that they need to have before saying yes or coming together?
I think if you have to have the conversation, maybe you shouldn't be partners.
There you go.
You know, I think that the best partners have a different skill set to you. So you do different things. So the things that you do, or the thing that Kim does, or the thing that our partners do has to be different from the thing that I do.
Yeah.
So if you're the expert at A, it's going to be very easy for me to let you make all the decision as it pertains to A. If I'm an expert in B, you're going to let me make the decision as it pertains to B. You might advise me differently from what I want to do, But ultimately, that's my area of expertise. So I think if you're sitting with a friend, you're trying to figure out how to work together, you probably shouldn't work together.
You're already doomed.
You're doomed.
Yeah. We never had to sit down and figure out our roles. It's bloody obvious.
Yeah.
Basically.
But with everybody I work with, it's pretty obvious. We do different things.
Yeah.
And you should have, more so than some kind of agreement, admire your partners for what they do. Respect them for what they do. I worked with some brilliant creatives. I'm not as good as them. I admire them.
Yes.
I wish I had those skills. I don't have them. I admire, I look up to it, and I'm excited to see what they do every day.
Yes.
That's how I want to go to work.
Yeah.
I want to be excited about what my partner is going to show me, and I hope they're excited about what I'm going to do.
No doubt. I want to change gear a little bit because I am very happy that you're happy and open to talk about anxiety. And you have been pretty open about the fact that you suffer from anxiety. And I want to understand a bit more about anxiety as it relates to your career and your life and your business. Because I think that we're so much conditioned to see anxiety as a weakness. And I know you think about it as a superpower. So when did you start seeing it as a superpower, and will you just talk about it a bit for me?
Very late, probably in my late 30s, where I really understood. And I did that through work I was doing with a highly spiritual person who asked me, I said, I want to change. I don't want to be this anxious person any longer. I want to feel whole. And he said, are you sure you want to change? I said, yeah, this is a really negative thing for me. This is a big, my days are heavy. And he said, if you change, it also will change who you are. You're not just successful because, despite your anxiety, you're successful because of them. There's so many positives that are driven and so many skills that comes from your anxiety that if you change that, you might not be as good as you are today. You might not be as good version. You might not be as an effective founder, entrepreneur without it. Are you sure you want to lose that power? And that was,
Ding.
Oh yeah, that was, I walked out of that room.
I remember. Dr. Tran, right?
Dr. Tran. Nothing had changed and everything had changed at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that even just you saying it, and I know that story so well, I feel like it is so important for people to hear, because we all have parts of our personality that are useful or less useful, more useful or less useful. And it's not often, we don't often put things in the right order. We don't often understand how some of those things that can be troubling to us can also enable us.
Yeah, and anxiety can be debilitating, can be crippling. And indeed, for many people, something that they need to get treated. At the same time, anxiety is a human emotion. It's a part of our human experience. We all have it to some degree. It's healthy to have a dose of anxiety. It's health, just like it's connected to fear, which is a natural, human emotion, reaction. It's our ability to feel love, sadness, joy. Anxiety is part of us. I have more of it, and I have so much of it that for a long time in my life, every day was just harder for me than it was for other people. And I kind of started every day at a negative.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to overcome that to do anything. I had to overcome anxiety to meet people. I had to overcome anxiety to get out in traffic, to get on an airplane, to be on my own. So I always it was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was really, really exhausting, and still is often exhausting.
How do you know when anxiety is fueling you versus controlling you these days?
I think it does both. For better or worse. But I don't judge myself for having anxiety anymore. I accept it. I see it as a wave. And when it comes, it can be imposing. And in the middle of the wave, you feel hopeless. But I know the wave is going to wash over, and I know the water is still on the other side. So what am I going to do? Never get in the ocean? Is that better? Or am I going to start getting scared of the sand? You know, the problem, and I'm sure other people, if anyone listens to this, who suffers from anxiety, and I'm sure many do, the more you tailor your life to avoid situations which makes you anxious, you're getting anxious in lesser situations. When you lower the bar, that becomes the new bar. You need to lower it again. And life gets smaller that way. Mm-hmm. It's a very tricky subject. Everybody have their own journey. And I can only speak on my experience. I'm not saying that's translatable to other people. They have to have their journey and they know themselves best. I can only speak of mine. But my personal experience is that I do better when I challenge it.
Do you, I wonder, Jens, what tools keep you most grounded when the anxiety flares up? Like, how have you learned to cope?
Being honest with the people around me.
Yeah,
it's
a big one.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in an environment where you could show fear. I didn't grow up in a community or a culture where that was accepted, not in a school where that was accepted, not in a friend group where that was accepted, or even a thing.
No.
So,
I mean, to a certain extent, I don't even think that I understood anxiety until I met you.
Right.
Because it's just not a factor in my life, and certainly not something I grew up speaking about. And it wasn't until I was in a relationship with you that I understood anxiety to the extent I understand it now.
Right. So I think myself, like many others, when you suffer from dyslexia.
Yeah.
Okay. So you develop tools to get through school. And little things you did and little fake outs and ways for it not to show or to get through your day and get done what you needed to do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Still using them.
Right. And I still use mine. So I had to develop tools to deal with my anxiety. And what I learned for me is that I needed an out. I needed an emergency exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would find ways to reassure myself that I was able to leave the situation if I needed to leave it. And if I knew I had an escape plan, I had a much easier time getting through that wave.
Totally.
So I developed my tools. But what has helped in adult age, as I'm living in a different time, in a different culture, where we are so much more open and generous with one another, I learned to be very open about how I feel. I went on this podcast right now and I said, I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. And when I can sit in front of you and say, I'm the most nervous I've been for 15 years having this conversation with you, and I can say that on camera, well, that diffuses my anxiety.
Yeah.
Because if I'm putting it out there, what do you have on me?
Fuck off.
The other thing that I've done is to surround myself with people that know how to support me when they see it's happening. They know the signs. And I have these sayings in my head when I used to go in for a meeting that was consequential. You know, when I was in the ad business, you have to pitch for work.
Yeah.
So you constantly have to put yourself in really uncomfortable position, fly across the world, get into these hot ass meeting rooms with people, get treated like shit, present your work, sometimes being belittled, and millions of dollars is at stake. And at times, in the early days, the company was at stake.
Yeah.
That's a pretty anxious place to be, even if you're not suffering from anxiety. That's a really anxious, high strung. So I am blessed to have had people around me that say, this isn't the end of the world. They've got nothing on you. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's always tomorrow. There's always another client. There's always another flight. There's always another meeting. They helped me diffuse it. As I got older and even more confident, all those things live in me.
Yeah.
And I think part of why I have pursued, success, for lack of better words, in life, is to create an environment in which I feel I always have the option to leave. I think they call it "fuck you money."
I think that's what they call it for sure.
So I don't want to be crude, but
no, it's true.
I'm a very happy person who suffered from anxiety, and I've been able to create a life partly because of it, partly because of the tools which we haven't really touched on, which I actually think is the superpower in anxiety, not just the debilitating side of anxiety. Yeah. So if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about
Please, I'm dying for you to tell, because I think that if you're a young founder or you're a young leader or you're just anyone who has anxiety, you need to understand that. Like I know it's been a breakthrough for you.
Well, you said earlier in this conversation how I don't like to big things up. I'm always moving on to the next thing. I'm always thinking about tomorrow. I'm not really worried about today. But what do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? So my fear, which is essentially what anxiety is a sense of irrational fear, right? My fear is always driving me to see around the corners.
Yes.
I'm not buying the BS. Okay, you love me today, you won't love me tomorrow. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to focus on tomorrow. So that's where my focus is going to be. That comes from a place of anxiety, but it actually is a superpower to constantly live and plan and work in the future.
Because you're saying it allows you to see around the corners.
Totally.
You can call the play before it's even happening.
We are all the main characters in the movie of our life, right? So most of us believe every moment is here to stay. When people tell us nice things, we tend to really believe they meant them and that they really thought about what they said. And it's nice to be an optimist. It's less gratifying to be a pessimist. But
if you're married to an optimist, you've got some space.
You lift me up. You lift me up. But the positive is that you're more objective, you're more realistic, and you don't tend to get sucked into this vortex where you start trying to feed your own ego. The ego isn't as important for an anxious person. You're swimming. You're trying to keep your head above the water. I'm not really thinking about, oh my God, I'm so special. I'm trying to survive, bro. I'm trying to live. So if I'm just thinking about living,
you got no time for the bullshit.
I'm not going to think that I'm that special because I might drown. And that's the feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling is I'm trying not to drown. So it's easy for me to be objective. It's easy for me to cut through the crap. It's easy for me to transform myself because my fear of being stuck or my fear of being left or my fear of drowning is far greater than my fear of what's tomorrow. Tomorrow holds promise for me. Tomorrow is exciting for me.
Wow. Do you think you can do the same thing with people because of your anxiety? Like, do you think that you see things that other people miss?
I think anxious people tend to be really great readers of other people. You're so aware all the time of your surroundings because instinctively you're just looking for threats. It's like a primal thing, right?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
This is, we're from the animal kingdom. This is a primal thing. I'm just wired to look for threats.
Yeah.
I'm the lookout guy.
Yeah, you're the caveman. Totally.
Yeah, You want me in the lookout tower.
Yeah, totally.
I'll be looking at every leaf. What moves?
That's literally why I married you.
Yeah. So, you become really good at reading people, reading their intentions, understanding what they want.
Yeah.
And it's a superpower.
But you speak a bit about this with me, like about paranoia, right? Like you talk about your own paranoia and how that's allowed you to make good decisions, good investments either.
Yeah.
Give me an example of where that type of paranoid mindset has paid off for you.
Well, it's paid off because I have always moved on at a moment where I could have stayed.
Right.
I have always planned for the next chapter while I was in my current one. So I have a red thread through my work because of my love for popular culture, for my love of fashion, for my love of retail, for an aesthetic that I gravitate towards. So this podcast is not long enough for me to lay out how everything I've done, from ad agencies to starting magazines to starting, one of the first, influencer platforms to starting a jeans company, co-founding of Skims. Like, all of that might seem like, oh my God, you've done so many different things. I think have just done various expressions of the same thing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I can see that.
So it's not like I think that I'm like, oh my God, this ship is sinking, I'm going to jump off to this. It just means that I'm excited about where the future is going and my eyes are open for the next opportunity. So when I see that opportunity, I want to take it.
So if you're young now and suffering from anxiety, what, based on your experience, would you say to people what's the best thing to do?
Just go after your dreams. You have to go for your dreams. If you fail, at least you did it. Now your life becomes smaller if you don't try. Your life and your experience becomes bigger if you go for it. You have to challenge yourself, and it can be really, really difficult. But that doesn't mean you have a choice. Just do it.
Just do it. I want to talk to you a little bit about more personal life.
Oh, that wasn't personal enough for you?
More personal life, as in like digging further into personal life.
I feel like you're finally getting to know me after 16 years. I waited a long time for this conversation.
I'm wondering if we go to conflict. Like, I've got so many things that I wanted to talk to you about. What do you think, Jens, is the hardest part of being married to somebody as ambitious as me?
I've never been married to anyone else, so it's hard to compare. And I wouldn't want to be. Your ambition is part of what I fell in love with. You couldn't take that out of you and it to be you. But I think in any relationship, when you have two parties that are highly ambitious, it's more about allowing each other the moment.
Yeah.
There was a moment when you were starting this podcast in the spring where that was your moment. The energy around you in your home, I'm sure nerves that you felt going through a transition or adding something to what you wanted to do and put yourself out there in a different way than you've done in the past, that's pretty nerve-wracking. It's going to consume a lot of energy. It's going to consume a lot of conversation. At that moment in time, it's going to be all about you. That's okay. It's got to be about you. What can I do? What's best for me is and I remember thinking this, the best thing is for Emma to be successful at whatever she wants to succeed at. Because God forbid you aren't. I'll have to listen to this for years. But if we lean in here, I'll let her have this moment. We can get back to me.
We can get back to you eventually.
No, but I mean, jokes aside, you have to know when something is important to the other partner. Like so much of what we're talking about today really comes down to grace, knowing each other and allowing, this is important to you, this is important to me. If you care, if this is your moment, if you care about this, I'm going to get behind you. If I'm going through something that's important to me, you'll recognize that and you'll get behind me.
Yeah, and I feel like once you've been together for as long as we have, for 17 years, there's seasons to this shit, right? Yeah. It's like, sometimes it's all about me, sometimes it's all about you, sometimes there's a clash. I think the point is that we are in constant conversation about these things. And it's not just like a realization that, oh, this person's traveling and sucking all the air out of the room and everything's about them now. It's usually a conversation and an acknowledgement that this is a period that's about to happen in our lives. And I think that we have a level of like just a lot of honesty in our relationship and a reality of like what is going to happen. We're not trying to kid ourselves about it.
Yeah, but that's also partly of who we are. This is a hard thing to teach people, I think. You know, I think if I was married to someone who was about themselves all the time for 16 years, I don't think it would last that long.
No.
You know, it's kind of, that would be, you know, that would start grating on me a little bit. So that's just not who you are. No. If you were that person, that wouldn't be you and I wouldn't be with you. You know, you are outside of work, a sensitive, highly, you know, attuned person and a great and loving and supportive wife to me. And I recognize that and I want to be, you know, all of those things to you.
And you are.
Yeah, I try. I mean, that doesn't mean we get it right all the time,
well,
right?
No, we don't get it right all the time.
Or the balance is not right all the time. But you know what? That's okay too. People talk about this like, it's not like everything is always in balance. Actually, life tends to be like an EKG. It's never really in balance, right? It's like it's not really in balance, but there's like
talk to me about balance.
Yeah. But there's some kind of medium in it. There's a kind of an average.
Like, you take the average, like somewhere across the, you know, across the life, across the time, like there's going to be like a more often than not wavelength. And it's like, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. Jerry Seinfeld said something in an interview a while back. And he said, you know, most of us go for a day. Okay, we have a good morning. We have a shitty afternoon. We're somewhat of a good moment at dinner. Maybe we're bad again. Then we're good again. It's life is not we're not in this equilibrium.
No, but that's the problem because I think so many people are looking for an equilibrium and they don't get it. And then they wonder, you know, it's like, again, I don't expect to always be in the most joyful, incredible, magical moments with you. And after 15
you'd be
years,
disappointed.
I'd be very disappointed. But that's part of it, right? Because and again, let's talk about conflict a little bit because I think a lot of people want to understand with us, if we have conflict at home, how do we make sure that it doesn't seep into business and vice versa? Like how do we manage conflict within our relationship?
Well, I'm going to tie this to what we just discussed.
Yeah, please.
What's the most important thing here? Like, what's the most important thing? And you can have levels to a relationship, right? I don't have just one level of my relationship with you or anyone else. Some people do. Some people, it's like just one bucket.
Yeah, no, we have no, that's not
my people.
Yeah.
But some people just have one bucket.
Oh.
I have levels to a relationship, and there's a work level, but that has nothing to do with the fundamentals of my relationship with you or anyone else. You know, I'm in love with you. That's the most important thing. Okay, so that's here. Okay, so now we have this work level. We might have some disagreements, but that's really got nothing to do with all the fundamentals of our relationship or my relationship with anyone else for that matter.
Yes, but
so
I
you
think
kind of have to, you know how to talk about, you wear different hats.
Yeah, you wear different hats, but for a lot of people, that's very hard to understand. And for me, I'll be totally honest with you. When I first met you, that was hard for me to understand. I didn't understand how we would have a massive conflict in work, which you and I have and continue to have sometimes, and then get home and it all be fine. But I do think that is the point. Like, we have different hats and we are very, 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 very good at leaving it where it is. Like, it's not personal. Like with you, it's never personal.
And my boxers shake hands at the end of the match.
Some of them, Jens. Some of them, like the whole crew just like jumps in the ring and they all go fucking mental. Like, so it's not everyone.
They don't get married, do they?
Hopefully not.
No, but I mean, boxers shake hands. What I'm trying to say is that when I'm on the pitch, when I'm on the court, when I'm at work, I'm there to fucking win. I'm going to focus on what's going to make me win.
Yeah.
What's going to make us win. You know, what do I need to do to get to the best result? So just like there's a scuffle on the court, it doesn't mean that when you watch a game on TV that those guys are, you know, taking that off the court. You know, some pushing and shoving on the court is part of playing basketball. Doesn't mean that they're not friends. It's the same thing. You know, when I'm at work, I'm in the game. When I'm at home, I'm out of the game. Mm-hmm. Why would I bring the game home? Just because you gave me a little elbow under the basket doesn't mean I'll take that shit home to roast chicken and potatoes.
It's too true. Thank you for
I'll
that.
leave it at the door.
You know, before Skims, I used to feel like bras and underwear were either beautiful but uncomfortable or comfortable but not that flattering. There was never a perfect balance. That was one of the biggest reasons for starting Skims, creating beautiful but comfortable things you would wear every single day. I wear our Fits Everybody underwear every day. We have the most perfect panties in every silhouette and bras and bralettes that work with whatever you're wearing. We made racerback bras that are perfect when you're wearing a tank. We made padded, lined and unlined bras. We really thought of everything your girls need. With the Fits Everybody collection, we created a fabric that feels like a second skin. It's soft, it's stretchy, and it's supportive without ever digging in or showing through your clothes. Fits Everybody has been in the line from day one, and it's still one of our best-selling collections. Skims has totally redefined what underwear can be. It's thoughtful in design, innovative fabrics, and styles that make you feel confident the second you put them on. You can shop my favorite pieces at skims.com, and after you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and select our show, Aspire with Emma Grede, in the drop-down menu that follows.
Feeling run down, foggy, or just off your game? Symbiotica offers high-quality supplements designed to support your body from the inside out with clean ingredients and formulas that actually deliver results. Start with the liposomal glutathione, which supports glowing skin, gut health, and anti-aging benefits. For a calm, focused mind, there's magnesium L-threonate, known to help with brain fog, stress, and restful sleep. And for next-level immune and gut support, try the new liquid colostrum. It's packed with nutrients ingredients to strengthen hair, nails, skin, and help maintain a healthy gut lining. Each product is thoughtfully formulated and easy to take. No pills, no powders, just flavorful liquid supplements designed for optimal absorption. And with monthly delivery, it's simple to stay consistent. Go to symbiotica.com/aspire for 20% off plus free shipping. That's symbiotica.com/aspire for 20% off plus free shipping.
How do you think about everything that you've learned in your life and career and your business and our kids? And when you think about, I do want to talk to you about money a little bit because I love to talk about money. But when you think about risk, resilience, like the things that have made you in and around your career, how do you think about that as it relates to the kids?
I want my children to write their own story.
You know, Lola said that to me once.
Yeah.
When I told her to come to Skims and work.
Yeah.
She's like, no, Mummy, I'm going to write my own story. Now I know where
that's
it comes
what you want. I don't want children who defines themselves by their parents.
Amen.
I want them to be them.
But how do you foster that?
You tell
how do
them.
You do it.
You do you. I don't know. I don't know how you foster it other than leading by example. Generally, I think children are magical, and there's a part of you and there's a part of me and the part given by God, and they are their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there to give them love and support and share our experiences and encouragement. But they're going to be who they're going to be. But what I would hate is if they define themselves, if their identity in this world is rooted in their parents' success or failure. Why would I want that?
Well, we are.
I would be incredibly
100% aligned on that.
Wouldn't that be incredibly selfish?
Incredibly selfish and incredibly sad, quite frankly.
Yeah, but it's just selfish.
Yeah. Do you have a moment that you think, like, I just wonder, like, what you're most proud of as, not really as a businessman, but more as like a person, husband, father, Jensi?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that I detest the term businessman.
But you do know that you're a businessman. Jens.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. You're grown up in the office every day. Like, just because you don't carry a briefcase, you are a businessman. That's how everyone, like all of your staff, all the hundreds of people that work here, that's how they see you. They're like, Emma's a businesswoman and Jens is a businessman. Like it or not. Tough shit.
That's something I will have to process.
Talk to your therapist.
I think I fired my therapist for asking me to do things I didn't want to do. I wasn't willing to do the work.
You weren't willing to do the work. You did a lot of work.
I've done some.
You can take breaks from your therapist. That's all right. What are you most proud of?
Oh, I am the most proud of that I have. I think there was a time in my life when I finished high school. So I was around 18 and I had no plans and I wasn't particularly good at anything. I thought I was really cool. I was always out and about, mm-hmm. In clubs and this, that, and the other. And, the irony of our relationship, and they asked me earlier, it's like, tell us something that, we don't know about Emma.
Well, they got you on social media commitments?
They got some. And, but I'll tell you something they don't know about you, which is you're incredibly personable and you appear social. You're not a social person.
Yeah.
You're not a social person. You have a few really good friends. You don't like going out that much. You like to be with the people you love.
The same people for 25 years.
At home.
At home.
Preferably.
Please. Dear God.
No one thinks I'm a social person. I'm the most social person.
The most. All dinner reservations, all group activities, all things with our friends go via you.
I have so many friends, I can't keep up.
It's true.
And I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love all of them.
Yeah.
I can do multiple drinks and dinners with different people in the same night just to fit people in.
I'd rather kill myself.
Yes, you tell me that often.
Yeah, I'm
when
not,
I
I'm not
suggest
coming.
some of it.
I'm just not coming.
When I said you want to come, and you go, I want to kill myself.
I don't want to come. I'd rather kill myself.
I don't want to do it. So there was this time when I really didn't have a purpose, and I felt that I wasn't swimming, I was drowning. And in that moment, I think I had kind of come out into adulthood, thinking somehow as a daydreamer that these daydreams were going to come true because I was you know. So I was special. It was going to happen, and then nothing happened, and that negative spiral starts. And from that point, and I can pinpoint the day, time where I sat in the apartment, and I just realized that in the end of the day, and it's not because the world is a cold, loveless place, but people are really busy with their own shit and their own lives. And they might be supportive, but only you can help you. You have to take care of yourself. No one cares more about you than you care about yourself. And in that moment, everything changed for me. I went from not getting into college, not having a job, being totally kind of purposeless, with really low self-esteem, to having, a column in the daily newspaper, to having a dream job at the coolest magazine. And my whole life turned around. And within, 2-3 years, I was in London. Within 5 years, I had raised money, started the business, was starting to have some, early success in life. So what I'm most proud of is having overcome that moment in time and been able to live my life and build a life that I can be proud of. That's the most important thing. The next company, the next idea, an investment, working, not working. Again, what's the most important thing? The most important thing is that I built the life that I'm proud of. And that's really meaningful. And again, when you're faced with adversity in life, I had what people would refer to as a soft bottom. Not a hard bottom. It's not like you totally crashed out, but it's a soft bottom. I'm grateful for that moment because I discovered a power in myself in that moment in time, and I had never seen it or felt it before. I used to be lazy. I became ambitious. I used to be waiting. I became active. All of these traits that used to drag me down was turned into this positive moment. And so I think it was divine intervention.
So knowing that, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self about both success and happiness?
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I have been so worried about so many of my friends when I was in my 20s. It all worked out. We were in our early 20s and we didn't have no money. We never understood how we would be able to afford an apartment, how things were going to happen for us. And somehow for all of us, and many of them, it all worked out.
It all worked out. It
works out. And you cannot see it. You sit at home, you're scribbling, you're trying to figure out how am I, and I used to think that my whole 20s, how am I ever going to be able to own a property? Mm-hmm. I couldn't make the math work. Mm-mm. And I didn't have the money for a deposit. It worked out. But I might be an outlier, on that scale. But I was just saying generally, it works out.
It does work out.
For most of us, if we're at it, if we do the right thing, if we try to do the best with the talent we have, again, I've never seen anyone fail. it works out.
So if it all went away tomorrow, like everything, the businesses, the money, like the whole lot, what's the first thing that you would do?
I guess I would have to take an unpaid internship here at Aspire. Do it all again. Try to prove my value.
We would take you.
Prove my worth. Again, if you don't have money, you have your human capital. You have you. So you put that to work.
You better watch out, Joe Rogan, if Jens comes to work for us. I mean, that's what I think. What do you think success feels like today versus when you started?
Well, they keep moving the goalposts for me. When I was young, I could never have imagined the life that I live today. That would have been far and beyond my greatest expectations. But as you do things in life, the goalpost shifts a little bit. So what success looked to me when I was younger or 10 years ago and what they look like today, of course, they have changed. And I like to keep them to myself. And the reason I want to keep my ambition to myself, it's an emergency exit. If you don't know it, I don't feel put upon. I don't feel boxed in. I don't feel scared of failure because the only one that would see it is me. So I'd rather keep what success looks like to myself. But I can tell you, I remind myself all the time about how lucky I am to be where I am today. And if nothing more happened, and if I achieved nothing else, I would still be overjoyed with the life that I built.
Yeah. Damn right.
You got to lead with gratefulness. You got to lead with being grateful.
All right, one more little piece of wisdom from you, Jens. If someone remembered just one thing, like one sentence from you, what would you want it to be?
That if it's not okay, that's okay too. We all catastrophize. We all think that what we're going through is forever. You know, when you're a teenager and you're unhappy in love, it feels like the world's ending. There's nothing beyond that moment. There's nothing beyond high school. There's nothing beyond that grade. And you can try to tell your children when you come home today not to worry about how the first day in middle school was. That's all they're going to worry about. Mm-hmm. Middle school is an eternity.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be okay. And I think it's the most important thing for all of us to take with us, that moments don't last forever. There's still water on the other side of the wave, and if you're going for hell, you got to keep on going.
So good. Okay, I'm going to take you to rapid fire. You're right at the end.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. The first thing you do when you wake up?
Get you a cup of coffee and myself.
It is very true. And thank you, because I think that's the secret to a lasting relationship.
Right. I know how you like it.
Thank you. Damn right. The last thing you do before you go to bed?
Sneakily look at the news, waiting for you to tell me to stop because it's too late.
True.
I mean, normally I would say watching Frasier or Seinfeld or any kind of sitcom that...
Which we love.
Yeah, which I love.
Which we love. But rewatching...
But I normally kind of sneak a little bit of iPad news there.
Yeah, I see it. I just let you do it. I just don't want that light near me.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
It's unhealthy.
No, it's not good. It's like I put my phone in the other room and then there's somebody next to you with an iPad.
I go to bed ready for tomorrow. I'm like, I know what's happening.
Listen, don't we just know? You are my news. I basically get all of my information from you. And I like the arc of your news. You know, it's The Economist, it's the New York Times, it's the Washington Post, it's Wall Street Journal. And then you've got like the tea for me. Like, you know, if some housewife is like, something's happening with her, you know that too. So,
you know, if something would happen to me,
I would know nothing, no news. Jens, what are you currently aspiring to in business, in your business life?
To continue to surprise and delight our customers. I want to do things that is unexpected. And when they think they have an idea about what Skims is and what it will do next, I want to do something that surprises them.
Do you think we're doing so good at that?
We're doing pretty good.
Look at you, round the corner. What are you currently aspiring for in your personal life?
A hobby.
To have a hobby. You're not still on that one.
Yeah, I will never give that up.
Jens, you play tennis, you like, what kind of, you go to the gym all the time, you read a lot. Like what kind of hobby do you want?
First of all, I go to the
stamps?
gym for you to want to stay married to me and to stay alive so I can be married to you and be around for the children.
Okay, thank you.
I play tennis because it's the best sport to
For
stave
longevity.
off, cognitive decline.
Damn right.
Also, it's fun.
Yes. And you're very good at
It's
it.
a combination of both.
Yeah, I got it.
Don't say I'm very good at it
But
because I
you're
have friends who
very
will
good at
listen
it.
to this who's really good at it and they know I'm not that good at it.
No, I will say I think you're better than Pietro, not better than Jason.
That is, I am worse than both of them, considerably worse. And
You're better than me.
if you wanted to know what we could be arguing about, it would be the fact that they will ridicule me because I have a wife who loves me so much. She thinks I'm better at tennis than them, which I'm not.
I'm not even going to ask you a book that changed your life because you're not really a book that changed your life type of guy, are you?
I have you to tell me what's in the books.
And I have you to tell me what's in the news. This is how this partnership works. All right, this question I have for you. What is something that you valued when you were starting out that you no longer value?
That's just not how I think. I can't even relate to the question. What do you mean, value?
Okay, Jens, like some people value other people's opinions. Some people think that money is the goal. Like, what's something you thought was important back in the day? Or just explain to us how your brain does think.
Okay, something that I thought was important,
Mm-hmm.
to be everywhere, to be seen. People think that showing up, like I'm at this event, or I've got to be seen here, I've got to be at this dinner, and they think that somehow success comes from being seen.
Mm-hmm.
Success and being seen has almost, unless you're in the public eye and the public eye is your business, as far as business success,
Zero correlation.
there's no correlation to that.
Zero correlation.
In fact, I think one of the things that is my red flag for investing in companies and in founders, if I see them attend too many conferences. Because if you want to go to a conference and everybody to go, oh my God, I love what you do, I love your startup, and for you to spend all that time talking about something when you have like 20 stores or sold in one retailer because you have like a snickerdoodle brand and that's popular in Whole Foods, like, no.
No.
Don't get
Red
so
flag.
Yeah, because you're too in love with the idea of being successful. Be in love with the work. If you're in love with the work, success comes. You'll have time to talk about it when you really have something to be proud of. But don't take this thing and like spend all this time talking about something you have yet to create. Create it and talk about it.
Okay, what's something that you value now that you didn't value when you were starting out?
Meditation. I think meditation is the greatest tool to find clarity, peace, give you energy, joy. I wish I had found meditation earlier. I found prayer when I was a child. But I would say meditation to me has given me a lot in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, much longer than that. But
you become really serious about it in the last 5 years.
I practice it more diligently and in a different way. And I really value meditation.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite habits that you have like introduced me to, because if somebody is meditating in your room at 6 a.m., it's almost stupid not to join them. And so I feel like it's one of those things that by, virtue of you being really into it, I've got really into it.
Yeah.
And it really works. Like I literally think it's like a tool. And for someone like me who's very highly strung, who's, always on the edge, I feel like it's a really useful thing that just readjusts me and it works for the whole day. It's like whatever you did, whenever I've done it in the morning, I feel like my day pans out differently.
Well, have you ever tried to run and play chess at the same time?
Definitely not.
No, but that's what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We run through our day, we run for our life, and then we're supposed to be strategic, have ideas, process, make the right decisions, handle things. So how are we going to do that when our breath is up here?
Impossible.
It's very difficult.
Impossible.
It's very difficult. Meditation allows us to ground ourselves so we can make better decisions, so we have better coping mechanisms. And again, you can't run and play chess at the same time. So I don't know why people think they can just run 24/7 without any time for reflection. And reflection isn't just sitting down and like agonizing over what happened or agonizing over what's going to happen tomorrow. It's about allowing you the space for that intuition to do its work, to build, and you'll find a lot of peace and clarity for meditation. So for those who don't do it, I really recommend it.
So this is like a slightly different thing for this podcast, but because it's you, there's a bunch of questions from our team.
Okay.
Okay. And I just chose the really easy ones.
I thought I was nervous before. Now I'm
No, these are easy.
petrified.
All right. First question from the team. They want to know, how do we keep the spark alive in our relationship?
I mean, look at you. That's not hard.
Good artsy, Etsy. So a lot of work then. Obviously, you and I are very intentional about date nights, but I think the question is, when two people are very busy, like how do you keep something like that going? And after 17 years, like, are you just running out of places to go? Like, why do we keep them? How do we keep them?
I think you have to consciously plan to do things together. But I often can feel like if we have a couple of weeks where we're a little disconnected and we're all both running, I kind of feel like there's a hole. I kind of feel like there's a void. And so we normally plan something and do something together. I think it's incredibly important, especially when you have children, to have time just as a couple, because you're more than just parents and you're more than business partners. You're more than a married couple. You're also, best friends and everything else. And you got to give yourself time to do all of those things together.
Definitely. All right. This is a strange question, but they want to know when, is this a real question? What was the moment that you knew you were in love with me?
I don't know.
That's a very you answer.
I don't know. I don't know the moment I knew, but when I knew, I fucking knew. I just never had less doubt about anything. I can't pinpoint it. I don't know. You're very lovable.
I know the exact moment on the other hand, but that's fine.
I know. I'm so disappointing to ask these questions.
No, you're the least disappointing person in the world. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me on the Aspire podcast. For more strategies on how to build the life of your dreams, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.